Today's date is the 23rd of July 2025, and this morning I got up, I came to open the YouTube homepage. I was not intending to actually go on YouTube today, just glanced at the YouTube homepage. Sky News said Ozzy Osbourne dead at age 76, and immediately I was like, fake news, not funny, this is fake news. And I read the thing, it said Channel Sky News. I'm like, why would they do that? And I'm like, I immediately went to Google and typed in and it came up, and it was legit. And it was, I just sort of kind of froze in my spot. I was without words. Technically, it should have come as no surprise because Ozzy hasn't been well, but it did come as a great surprise. It came as because they've just moved to the south of Birmingham, but they've just moved to Jordan. There's a place called Jordan that's north of London, south of Birmingham. And I was just reading an article the other day about, I think it was 4 or 5 days ago, about how they've got all this health equipment in there, all this equipment, cardiovascular, all for Ozzy's health, so that Ozzy could regain his health. And I think the other day I thought, with all this, Ozzy has his own gym, and with all these new health things in the mansion for Ozzy, I thought, oh, he's got about at least 10 years left in him, maybe possibly 15, because he can gradually improve. And I was thinking that just the other day, I thought, yeah, look, he'll gradually improve, and just a lot, very, very emotional day. I immediately went into Michelle, because I can't take this laptop is connected to this monitor, so I got Michelle's laptop and I showed her the news, and she didn't really work out what I was doing at first, and I showed her the news. I was going to say my state of shock in that moment. The only way that the only way that I knew how to tell Michelle was I just via her computer, and then she was went into shock as well. When I can't work out who I heard first, if it was Black Sabbath or if I heard Ozzy solo first. It was probably Black Sabbath. I was probably 13 at the time, so I was born in 73, so let's say 86. So maybe about 1986. I would have heard Sabbath first on Rage, which is an all-night music program in Sydney, Australia. I think it's all throughout Australia, Rage. It is, but MTV, Richard Wilkins would play the occasional clip. Would play a little bit of, mainly Richard Wilkins would play Ozzy solo, but I used to go down to a friend's place in the Avenues, a friend from a girlfriend from public school, because Mum would visit her mum, and I'd go into my friend's room, and she'd play me Zeppelin, and she'd play me Slayer. It's the first time I ever heard Rain in Blood was in my friend's room on very high volume. Play me AC/DC, and I'd hear Sabbath without realising it was Sabbath. And then, I heard Sabbath first. I definitely heard Sabbath first. And I maybe even been 14 when I first heard Sabbath, because I was watching Rage from about the age of 12, and Okay, at school in about 1985, there's a heavy metal compilation called Metal Madness. It's got a, should I look it up? Just, I'll show you. I'll show you. Metal Madness compilation. Ooh. Let me actually show you what Metal Madness. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Metal Madness album. This one. Look, this one here. Images. Come on, images. Why are you taking so long? This one. Look, here. Yes. See that one there? Now, that was high school, about 1980. I think that came out in 1986. That album, so that album, that Metal Madness compilation, is a high school, and an acquaintance friend had it, and I saw it. It was in the corridor, and I said, "Can I please borrow it?" And he was kind enough to let me borrow it. I think he let me borrow it for 2 nights or 1 night. I can't remember now. Took it home, put the needle on the vinyl, and listened. And there was some very interesting things on there. And there was also Dio, and a song called "Hungry for Heaven." But then it got to now Ozzy Osbourne. Just the name itself, I was intrigued. I was like, Ozzy Osbourne. Oh, who is that? Ozzy Osbourne. That's got a ring to it. And then when Bark at the Moon came on, and my life changed. It was just unique, fascinating, everything all at the same time. I was sold on the spot. I'd never heard anything like it, and I was introduced to the world of Ozzy Osbourne, and that song kept it. The other songs on the album I enjoyed. I think Twisted Sister was on there as well, and perhaps it could have been Warlock. And I liked Hungry for Heaven, but Bark at the Moon got me straight away. And so then after that, what I would hear was, I would, in at my friend's place, they would play Sabbath, and then play Ozzy, and then elsewhere I'd hear Ozzy Soul. I'd be like, that voice. I'd be like, that voice. They'd say, yeah, Sabbath. I'd be like, no, Bark at the Moon, and I didn't know the difference between Sabbath and Ozzy Solo. So I just had no idea. And I said, that voice, and they said, yeah. They said, yeah, Sabbath. So my introduction to Ozzy was Bark at the Moon, but I'd heard Sabbath previously. And then as I was Bark at the Moon, what happened was, literally a month later, the Ultimate Sin was released. So by the time I discovered Bark at the Moon, the Ultimate Sin got released. Shot in the Dark was everywhere, all over MTV. Ozzy had the blue gown and had that glam look, and the Ultimate Sin album. It was everywhere, and at this point, I would have heard Technical Ecstasy. At this point, I did hear Technical Ecstasy, and but so I feel solemn today. It's the 23rd here in Sydney, Australia. I think in the rest of the world it's the 22nd. I'm solemn. I feel solemn. Ozzy, he never actually met him, but I've seen Ozzy solo about 5 times. Ozzy came to Sydney with Zakk Wylde in 1998. Played at the Sydney Entertainment Centre. It was the best gig I've ever been to. Best gig I've ever been to. And he was extraordinary. And I saw him again with Zakk Wylde. Can't remember the years now. I think it was 1998, and then it was 2006. And then I've seen Ozzy about 5 times. I've seen Ozzy about 5 times. Every time he's been extraordinary. Every time he's been just incredible. Unfortunately, I've never seen Ozzy with Sabbath. I've seen plenty of YouTube clips. I've heard plenty of footage. I've heard, but it's not the same as in person. But some of my favourite live things to listen to. Some of my favourite live albums are Sabbath with Ozzy. There's a lot of footage here on YouTube of Sabbath with Ozzy. And just for the record, Ozzy is Sabbath. Ozzy is Sabbath. I've said that numerous times. I'm in shock still. It's surreal. I'm sad and I feel solemn. I didn't know if I'd have enough energy to do this video. I just wasn't sure, but I thought, I found out 8 hours ago, and it's been a bit of a wobbly day. Ozzy, and Ozzy, and I think that he's a very humble person from what I've seen of him in interviews, and of course the Osbournes. When the Osbournes came to where I watched every episode, watched all the episodes with the Osbournes. I was very excited about it. Thought it was terrific, actually. And how much of that was put on, because it is a TV show, they are there to entertain, and how much of that was, who is the real Ozzy? I think you get more of the real Ozzy in the new Osbournes podcast that started more than a year ago. I think you get definitely get the real Ozzy with that. But when the Osbournes aired, when was it? 24 years ago. I think it was a bit of an act. I think partly scripted, a lot scripted. I think it was a put on. It was entertaining. And I ended up watching. I'm talking here out of grief and shock. I'm talking through grief and I'm talking through shock. And Black Sabbath, the beginning of heavy metal. Ozzy's unique voice. Ozzy's very. I refer to Ozzy's voice as a character voice. There's no other like it. It doesn't have a great deal of range, Ozzy's voice, but it's unique. Unique voice. The first time I heard Bucket Moon, I was like, who is that? It was Ozzy. I was just like, wow. I was immediately sold. It wasn't like, do I like this? I'm fairly certain I like this. Like the first time I ever heard Axl Rose's voice, I was sold on the spot, sold. And perhaps Ozzy is my favourite frontman, or almost. Ozzy with Billboard, Geezer, Iommi, started heavy metal, started heavy metal. And the thing is that I am here on Earth, fortunate to be on Earth at the same time as Black Sabbath and Ozzy Solo in this era, and was fortunate enough to be here at the same time as Bowie and Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Guns N' Roses, with Guns N' Roses being my favourite band. That's another story. Hey, even on Hollywood Boulevard, there's a vigil. Look, there's a vigil on Hollywood Boulevard. Look, it's a vigil. I've been listening to the Sabbath albums recently. I've been listening to... I did a ranking. I don't believe in the ranking of albums. I did a ranking of the albums. This whole ranking thing when it started on YouTube a few years ago, before that, I never ranked albums. I just thought, I'm in the mood for this, or I'm in the mood for that album, I'm in the mood for this album, I want to hear that album. I never used to compare albums really, and this whole ranking thing got me started on comparing albums. And what happened 2 weeks ago now, leading up to the Villa Park gig, I did a video about Ozzy's solo albums, but I didn't put it up because it was a big sort of reassessment of them, and I didn't know which one was my favourite. Like, my sentimental favourite Ozzy album is Bark at the Moon, and then I decided that it wasn't, and then I thought, no, I need to listen to Bark at the Moon properly. So I've actually, the last few weeks, 2 weeks now, I've been listening to, this is just before the Villa Park gig, I was listening to Bark at the Moon, the whole album. Bark at the Moon is my favourite Ozzy solo album. It is a brilliant album. It's got this nice slow pace to it. It's very different to Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Diary of a Madman I'm not overly fond of. I realise I prefer Blizzard of Oz, but Bark at the Moon is a wonderful album. It's a very interesting journey. It has some great tracks on it. And The Ultimate Sin. Love that album. Now, I went to Osmosis. And at first I was like, no. But when Osmosis came out, I liked it. I used to listen to it in the car with my friends all the time. But then for years and years and years, I didn't hear it. And so I went back to it and decided, no, this is a terrible album. And then I started listening to a couple of tracks of it. Osmosis is a very interesting album, very, very interesting album. But I've been listening to Bark at the Moon quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. Great album. And I've been listening to The Ultimate Sin. And a while back I was listening to No Rest for the Wicked often. But I talked about those and I hadn't put the video up yet because I decided I was going to redo it, just re-record it. And just Ozzy, life that he lived and the mark that he has left and what he did and how Ozzy has had musical-wise a tremendous impact on my life. And the Sabbath records, I went back and heard Technical Ecstasy, which I really enjoyed. Love the first Sabbath album, love it. And been getting used to Paranoid. I can enjoy Paranoid now because I don't think I understood the Paranoid album in previous times, but I've gone back to it and I actually like it now. Never Say Die, great album. I love Never Say Die. I think it's a fantastic album. Well, my favourite Sabbath album with Ozzy is, well, I like Sabotage. I like Sabotage. I like Master of Reality. Volume 4 is fantastic. Can't handle changes. Just, I can't handle changes. It's a great song. Just can't handle it. But Ozzy. I mean, just to be alive at the same time as Ozzy. I mean, what a tremendous impact Ozzy Osbourne has had on Earth. And he's in the astral realm now. His transition to the other side very likely may well be in the astral realm. Wonder if he did the life review. Wonder if he did that. But he would have been, if Ozzy went to the light, depending if he went to it, he would be involved with or potentially a life review. I don't know what his frame of mind was. But I liked Ozzy, loved Ozzy, even my mum loves Ozzy because she saw the Osbournes. Always loved Ozzy. It was unfortunate that I've never seen Sabbath with Ozzy. I never saw Sabbath with Dio. That's where I got mixed up with too when I was starting out with listening to Sabbath. It was like, I heard Mob Rules and got completely confused. I was like, because when I heard Mob Rules, I was like, wait, this voice, this is different. Word, this is different. I said, yeah, it's Dio. And I'm like, well, whoever I was hanging out with at the time, or whichever, and no one explained it to me. I was like, wait a minute, this voice is different to that voice. And it took me so long to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. And then same thing with Born Again and The Eternal Idol. I got confused. I love the Born Again album. I think it's a great album. But I got confused by Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell. It took me a long time to figure that out. Yeah. I think Ozzy Osbourne was very interesting. I actually did enjoy watching that Osbourne's podcast, but what a profound impact that Ozzy had on Earth and for music, and brought about heavy metal. And there's never been a time when I went off Ozzy. There have been times when maybe I didn't listen for a few years here and there, but if I wasn't listening to Ozzy, I was listening to Sabbath. And maybe if I wasn't listening to Sabbath, I was listening to Ozzy solo. And some of my favourite live, some of my favourite music live, like via YouTube, is all the bootlegs, the Sabbath bootlegs with Ozzy from the 70s. They're incredible. They're incredible. It's so sad. I feel sullen. Ozzy passed less than a fortnight after the Villa Park gig. Geez, just the other day, I was like, he's got another 10 years because he's doing his workouts of a day. He seems to be doing well in health. He seems to be doing well. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. I have no idea what was going on behind the scenes. I really don't know. maybe there'll be more light shed on that in the coming days, or so, from Sharon, depending. But I just thought Ozzy will get there, and he's got another 10 years left in him, and it's very sad. But the thing is, what Ozzy did was brilliant. He has left us fantastic, wonderful music, and certainly touched my life profoundly, changed my life profoundly when I was in my teen years. And the first time I heard Bark at the Moon, it was magical. And then like 2 days later I had to give the vinyl back to the kids at school, and I don't think I heard Bark at the Moon for I don't think I raced out. I didn't, for some odd reason, I didn't race out and buy the vinyl, because I was listening to a few different things at that time, like a few different things: AC/DC, Metallica, Slayer, Led Zeppelin. My true introduction to Led Zeppelin was about age 19. It was roughly about 92, but it was all at once and yet all over the place. And I completely skipped the Randy Rhoads era. I came for that a lot later, many years later. I delved into the Bark at the Moon, Ultimate Sin. Oh, and then when No Rest for the Wicked came out, I was all over that. When No Rest for the Wicked came out, loved it, was all over that. Wouldn't be until the Zeros that I would properly discover Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Well into the Zeros. Somewhere around 2010 or something. And so Bark at the Moon, very sentimental to me, very sentimental. And age 76, it's elderly. I mean, it's not old, it's elderly. It's what Ozzy did. It's what Ozzy gave the world. And Ozzy was very passionate about it, full of energy on stage, very sincere and very passionate. When I saw him live in 1998 with Zach Wild at the Sydney Entertainment Centre, he was very passionate. It had lots of energy, not over the top like David Lee Roth. He was passionate and sincere, and a very important figure in my life, music-wise, and that is a so very important, so very important. I'm still in shock, and I did start to listen to the Ultimate Sin album a couple of hours ago, but then I just kept getting distracted by the other videos which are on YouTube tonight, and there's been a couple of very good tribute videos, no pun intended, a couple of very good ones, especially Sea of Tranquility, and this other guy called Andy Edwards. My goodness. It feels sad, but Ozzy has given us a lot. Ozzy has given us, he has given me a great deal. He's given the world something extraordinary, and that's of help. That's important to the human race. That's important to music, and he's Ozzy Osbourne John Michael Osbourne has given the world something unique that has helped the world, and it is special and unique. I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for Ozzy. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you so much, Ozzy. Thank you so much, Ozzy. Thanks, Ozzy. It's okay. Oh, yes, Ozzy Osbourne, born in Birmingham, England, 1948, perhaps it was 1949, passed in, just south of Birmingham. I think it was in Jordan, passed in Birmingham in 2025. Rest in peace, Ozzy.